Hi there, this class is not Vinyasa, it's not power Vinyasa, it's a flexibility class, so it will enhance your Vinyasa and your power Vinyasa. It will enhance any sports activities you do, so a really nice class to have in your catalogue. Anyway, we're going to start in Tadasana, feet nice and comfortable. And just get ease into your shoulders, just a nice exaggerated roll back and down of your shoulders. Exhale, fold forward like a little Pilates roll down. Taking as much knee bend as you need to get yourself all the way down into this raggy doll roll down. And if you want a little play around here, have a little sway around. Whatever feels nice. Just empty the clutter from your head while you're here. So you can focus on just these little bit of time here to create all this lovely energy and flexibility in your body. Bring your hands to your shins and come flat back tabletop. Bring your hands to your mat and bend your right knee. Leave your left leg straight and take your left arm up. And create this lovely neat little hip stretch. Change sides, straighten your right leg, bend your left knee and take your right arm up. And side to side we're so different, so you'll probably find one side already telling you it's going to work better than the other. With your breath, change again. Inhale, exhale. And to the other side. Inhale, exhale. Bring both hands to the mat. Bring both hands to your shins. Get your tabletop spine. And then inhale the arms high. Catch hold of your right wrist and take a nice side stretch over towards your left side. And have enough freedom to rotate your chest a little bit. And feel that stretch all along the left side. And then back to the center, catch your left wrist. Go to the right side. Feel you have rotation this side also. A little turn of your chest, either to your ceiling or the sky. And then back to the top. Bring your left arm forward and take your right arm back. And then as you lift, it's like scissors cutting at the top. Let's go the other way. Because that's such a nice twist. Let's do one more. Inhale. And exhale. And one more to the second side. And exhale. Now this time as the arms are raised, just step your feet a little closer together and come into chair pose. And arms feeling lots of energy, fingertips having all these fireworks out of them as we sweep up through the arms and drop down into the hips. Bring the palms together. Bring your right elbow to the outside of your left thigh. See if you can drop a little lower into the hips. And if you want to take that bigger, bring your right hand to the floor and your left arm to the ceiling. And then we just sort of feel that a little more in the hip, I think, when we take those bigger arms. Let the hands come back together and then come back to that chair. Keep the legs if you can, I know they're warming. And let's go the other side as we twist. And if you went there on the first side, maybe left hand down, right arm up as we reach up. Like your right hip is rolling to look at your right hand. Come back with your prayer hands. Come back to your chair, and I know you're feeling it in the legs. I'm feeling it too. I'm just going to count you from 5 and 4, 3, 2, and straighten the legs. Little tiny back bend. And exhale. Let's find Tadasana. So we're going to walk to the back end of our mat and start with the arms just brushing down the side of your thighs. Let's do another Pilates roll down. Exhale. This time we're going to walk out to plank. You can modify plank on your knees if you wish. But if you are up on your toes with me, now the name is high plank, so we're high in our upper back and shoulders. We want to be strong in our legs. Let feel like your body is sharing this pose through all of its muscles. And then downward facing dog. So we're just going to move twice through those two poses. I want you to imagine you've got like a big beach ball between you and your mat. To get to your plank, you have to sort of go over the top of that beach ball to drop down into your plank. And back over that beach ball to your down facing dog. So we create like a curve in our spine as we come into our plank and back to our down facing dog. Then take the right leg off the mat. Feel that little squeeze in your bottom, and then bend your knee and bring your foot in between your hands. Lower your back knee to the floor and just come into that sort of crescent moon lunge. And we can 1-2 place our hands on our knee and just sort of explore that stretch in your hip and quad. If it's really tight, you could just come a little higher on your knee. If it feels amazing, you can find these tiny little micro pulses that just sort of acknowledge that stretch there. Just take our arms all the way up. Feel like you're sliding your ribs up, but you're sinking your hips down. Right arm finds the side of your hip. You're taking a side stretch over to that side. And then as you raise your right arm up, it's a funny little warrior 2 on our knee. Right arm forward and left arm back. If you can, let your left hand find the back of your thigh, reach your right arm up. Now as you bring both hands down either side of your foot, let's sit back and we're going to flex our foot to our right leg and really notice that in the calf there, the back of the knee and the hamstring. And if you can also do this, just walk your hands forward. There's a little power going on in our spine here. So we're trying to get our hips back, we're trying to reach our hands forward whilst we're holding that deep stretch in that right leg there. Beautiful stretch. And then as you come in and bend your knee again, just lift your back knee off the floor and take a twist in, right arm lifts. And that feels nice to get a little mini twist here. Lower your right hand down and then step your back foot in so you've got more of a walking stride with your legs. You want to be about hip distance and you want as much as your feet facing the short edge of your mat as you can. Tuck your right hip in, keep your chest lifted, use 2 blocks if you need to. Keep your front knee bent if you need to. But if all's good, let's take a little fold over your front leg. As if you're going to give your shin a little kiss. And you can do that if you want, it's your shin. And you love your body, so why not? And then try and feel like you've got weight in both legs here. Don't let it all be dominating into your front leg. Try and push weight into your back heel. And the way to check is just make sure you can wiggle 10 toes. You can still breathe, you can still smile. If your chest back is flat, we'll take our left leg off the floor, standing splits. Whatever height works for you, can stay hip height. It can go a little higher, it can go huge. And if it is there in your practice, right hand finds the back of your ankle or your heel and you just go a little deeper. Perfect. So you have gone to that full standing splits, both hands to the mat, lift the chest and step your feet to that end of the mat. Bend both knees, wrap your arms around the backs of your calves and shape you around your legs. You can stay with the legs bent, you can straighten them a little bit, you can straighten them completely, whatever works for you. Bring your hands to your shin bones and find your tabletop spine. Bring your hands to your hips and slowly, eyes following, come all the way up to Tadasana. So we're just going to turn the other way. We have a new length of mat there in front of us. So let's begin again with our Pilates roll down. Exhale. Walk out to your plank. Now this time, as we're getting a little warmer now, if you want to, rather than hold your plank high here with me, we're going to hold it halfway down. So we're going to drop down to Chaturanga. And I'm going to count you down for 5, 4, 3, hold on, 2, 1, push back to plank, and downward facing dog. That beach ball there again between our hands and feet, coming over the top of that beach ball, into our plank, and back over to our down facing dog. One more, so that curve like cat spine as you lower, and the same way back. Exhale, down facing dog. Let's take our left leg off the mat. Feel that little squeeze in your glute. Bend your knee and bring your foot in between your hands, your back knee to the floor. Explore it side to side. One side's always going to be a little tougher than the other. Hand onto your knee or thigh. And just gently, let's develop this stretch here in our hips, in our quads. Feels like it's everywhere. Reaching both arms up. Going to drop your left hand down the side of your thigh and just take that side bend over. Feel one hand pulling down, one hand pulling over. Reaching that hand up. Left hand forward, right arm back as we find our little kneeling warrior. Right hand finds the back of your thigh or your calf or your knee as you reach back. And then both hands either side of your foot. Peel away from that lunge. Stretch back. If you can, walk your hands into the opposite direction that you're pressing your hips. And powering our back here. Drop your gaze. And then as you come forwards, you're going to bend that knee again, lift the back knee and lift the left arm as you're twisting. Bring that hand down beside your toes. Step your back foot in. You might need a couple of goes to get it right. Toes, heels if possible, facing that end of your mat. Left hip in, blocks if you need to, shin if you need to. Or if all's good, just take that fold over this leg. And try and feel you've got weight in both legs. So we've got weight in our right heel. We've got our right toes, our left toes, all free to wiggle. And we don't feel it's all screaming there in our front leg. And then gently away from there too. Lift the back leg. You can be cautious just with that leg at hip height. You can try a little higher, you can go for it. If it is there in your practice, catching the back of the ankle with your left hand and going for that little shin kiss again as we squeeze that right leg higher. And then hands to mat, lift the chest, tabletop, and both feet down on the ground. Bend your knees. Wrap your arms around the backs of your calves and just sort of curl into the shape of your legs. Again, if you went there before, straighten them a little bit, straighten them more, maybe this time. And just let your hands come to the mat and find your tabletop. This time we're going to step back to our down facing dog and just go for that pedal out. That's quite a nice recovery. Now you can step any leg you like in, but I would sort of recommend the leg that faces the screen, perhaps. And you choose which leg you step in between your hands. That's going to turn to face the long line of our mat and make this sort of straddle with our legs and this long tabletop with our spine. I'm going to leave the left hand on the floor, take the right arm up and twist. So there's your modification. You could stay with that. Or you could wrap your right arm behind your back and use the binding to find a little bit more turn in your waist. We're going to bring our left hand to our right ankle and just draw our body a little closer towards that thigh. You might even get your elbow on the floor there. And again, if it's in your practice, you could take both arms around that leg and make that stretch much, much deeper. Just choose which option suits you here. Try and keep the weight sort of nice and spread through the feet. It's really tempting to take the weight to your heel. Try and let the weight be slightly off your heel if that's possible. And then walk everything back to the centre, lift your chest. Leave your right hand on the floor, take your left arm up. If you're modifying, this is where you stay. Or we wrap that left arm and we bring our right hand to our ankle or calf and we move in on that, so we move in deeper. If side to side it still feels acceptable, you could take both arms around that leg and you could just sort of find that depth. Also making sure that your weight isn't being pushed all the way to your heels. Sometimes it takes a little courage, you know, to bring your weight off your heels. And then come back into the centre, into that flat back position. So from here arms behind our back. Roll the shoulder blades together and open the heart. And come back for one last deep fold in our wide stride. And see if we can just bring our shoulders into play as well. And just try and mobilise the shoulders. So I always tell my class, make sure you're sort of beginning the feeling of this stretch from your shoulders, not forcing the feeling from your hands. It has to come from relaxed, mobilising and patience in your shoulders. Forcing that movement will just block any progression. And then as you come halfway, let your hands rest on your back. Bring your hands to your hips, and as you come up, eyes following, turn your feet out to the two corners of your mat and come into Goddess. So we're going to sit nice and sort of deep into our hips as we can. What's quite nice sometimes is just push your hands on the inner part of your knees and just try and encourage those knees out and drop your hips down. And then just let your hands rest light on your thigh. Your left shoulder is just going to dip over towards your right thigh. And then we come back to the top. And your right to your left. And back to centre. Let's go a little quicker with that. So dipping left to right. And right to left. And left to right. And right to left. One more each side. Twisting. And twisting. Takes your mind off your hips. And come back to your Goddess. Let's make some power arms here. So we're going to reach those arms up. I've got your hands, and if I was holding your hands, how deep could you push your hips down as we hold this here? Another 5 count for you. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Lower your hands to the floor and just do a little bunny hop in with your legs and just come into this sort of lower Goddess variation. And if this is a struggle for you, you could always bring your knees to the floor. You could take a wide child's pose. You could even take just the child's pose as a bit of a break. But if you can, when you get our heels on the floor, if that's in your practice, if it's not, you're up on your toes, it's a bit more of a balancing act, but we'll get there. So drop your hips down and open your chest out. A little pressure from your elbows pushing against the inner part of your knees. Replace your left hand on the mat and take your right arm up. If you are someone who likes to bind, you could wrap your arm behind your back and link your hands together around the underneath of your knee or shin. And maybe just turn your chest to where your eyes are looking. And then back to your little deep Goddess, a little yogi squat. Place your right hand on the floor. Take your left arm up. Again, if you like to bind, just take bind. You don't have to. Just giving you options for everyone here. Try and keep that left hip as open as it will stay. And then come back into your Goddess. So as gracefully as you can, place your hands behind you and come to a seated. I'm going to stretch our legs just out in front to give them a little shake. And then we're going to bring them back into that same similar Goddess type shape. So hands link underneath your toes, as close to your hips as you feel you want to. Let's take a fold forwards. Your elbows are neatly positioned there on the inner part of your hips and thighs, just to add a little bit of encouragement. So try and encourage the hips out. We've taken an awful lot of stretching to get to here, so just being a little bold and just gently easing against those hips. All of these deep stretches, you can spend so much longer with them. Once you've got this sort of class, this sort of balance of class in your catalogue, you could always spend more time on them and slowly away from there. Leave your right leg in, take your left leg out and just turn your right foot so that your sole is facing you. You can bring your hand around the strap, inside, outside, or your big toes. Going to take a long stretch over to the length of this leg. And then try and find that rotation again that we had earlier. Explore the power in this right arm, in this right side, as you reach longer. And see where you can sort of feel most comfortable here. And slowly away from there. Just move your legs so it's forwards. Sit a little bit forward of your sit bones. And let's come forward over that leg. Not so forwards. Try and switch off muscles you can switch off. Upper back, neck, shoulders, arms, wrists, hands. That crazy mind that always starts to explore other things we have in our day when we come to these deep stretches. Let's try and keep your mind focusing on this moment where you are. Maybe just bringing your attention to your breath. And just one more breath here. And then take a walk away from that. Just bring your right foot to the floor. You can stay on this side. You've got maybe a couple of centimetres between your foot and your thigh. And use a little bit of feeling in this right foot, a little bit of dominance in this right foot. We're going to wrap our left arm around that knee and just twist. And you could draw your knee across towards your opposite side. And we create a variation of Vinyasa C. Quite a deep squeeze into our twists here. So just try and relax with the twist. Try not to force the twist. And exhale as we come back to our Dandasana. So let's bring our feet back in. We create a little butterfly shape with our legs. Hands cup your feet. A little wiggle to the top of your sit bones and then folding forwards ×2 just to see how we feel second time as we gently ease into those hips. Breathe into the challenges. If you are finding this not too bad, you could bring your hands forward maybe, so no hands, and see where you can take that to. And slowly back. Going to leave our left foot in this time, stretch your right leg out. Turn that foot so you're looking at the sole of your foot. And then just manage this leg so you're resting on the back of that leg. Using your strap wherever you're comfortable, big toe if you can reach. And then how does it feel this side, this time? That rotation. You don't have to go huge and deep. Sometimes I like to stay a little bit modified so you can really appreciate what's happening here, what I'm feeling here. Appreciate the fact that maybe I have got room to go deeper if I'm patient. That I haven't forced my body somewhere it doesn't want to go because it went there yesterday. And exhale all the way back there. Let's bring this right leg out. Just rest your foot on the inner thigh, your calf, your half lotus if you'd like to. And let's just take this nice easy breezy stretch over our right leg. Again, switching off those muscles we can switch off. Just focusing on maybe the back of our knee might feel a little tight. Or maybe just our mind's so busy that we have to just maintain focus and breath. Just observing the small changes. If you are going to spend longer in these seated poses, you will notice changes. And just walking away there also. So we're just bringing our foot to the inside of our thigh, a couple of centimetres between your thigh and your foot, and a little bit lighter on those seat bones. We're going to squeeze that knee across to our opposite side. And as we squeeze that knee one way, we twist into it. And you're trying to sort of really clear one side of your chest from that thigh. Focus on deep breath there. And soften any tension, neck, shoulders. Way of managing the breath and the power, I suppose. Trying to switch off the power and switch on the breath. And slowly back from there. Shake out the legs. This time we're just going to cross our legs and turn ourselves to face that top end of our mat. Bring your hands in front and just step back to down facing dog. And one last thing, that beautiful lizard lunge, and then we're sort of done really. So let's take our right leg off the mat, bend the knee and explore it this time. Knee to ceiling, heel to bottom, inner thigh, hip, all there, saying hello. Bring your foot outside of your right hand and drop your hips down into your lizard lunge. You can be on your fingertips, you can be on your hands, you can be on your back knee. I would say turn your toes out slightly of your right foot. And we're just going to get a little side to side rocking going. So sort of imagine that the ceiling is being lowered. How low could we lower the ceiling for you to stay in this lizard pose? And maybe even try some circles, like you were stirring your hips a little bit, just to get into those hips at the end of this class. And then just come to stillness. And while you're in stillness, see how light you can hold this off your hands, whether you're on your fingertips or whether you could even just reach your arms out wide and no hands as we hold those deep hips. And then place both hands on the floor. Straighten your leg and step back, down facing dog. Hope you didn't fall over there. I hope you had a go as well. Let's take our left leg off the mat. Bend the knee, heel to bottom. Explore it. Maybe it'll sink you over a little bit. And then bring that foot outside of your left hand. Drop those hips down this side. Fingertips or hands, maybe hands for stability. Back knee could be on the floor. As we start our rock in, that ceiling starts to close down on you. How low? So we might need to get a little lower. Perhaps we can add those circles. If you're being a little cautious with your circles, but they're not feeling too bad, try some bigger circles, because they'll feel amazing. And then just come to that still. Up onto your fingertips, deep into those hips. And then if you can, we don't need these hands, our hips can manage it. Let's fly our arms and hold ourselves light off that thigh. Just that last little moment here, power and control. And then both hands in, straighten that leg, and downward facing dog. So we've gone quite a way round our flexibility there. We're going to walk our feet in, top of our mat, feet comfortable distance, bend your knees loads, and once again wrap your arms around the backs of your legs, bury your head in the shape of your legs, and then gradually, if you can, straighten your legs a little bit, but you may find you can straighten them all the way this time. And then just let your arms, if they're behind your legs, just let them like a raggy doll just flop in front of your legs. Take a small knee bend, chin to chest, and like a Pilates roll down, let's roll up this time through each vertebrae of your spine. Slowly up. Open your chest. Roll your shoulders back and down. Take a breath in. And exhale. And namaste. I hope you enjoyed that class. And I will see you again soon. Take care.